Welcome back. French presidential candidate Marine Le Pen has caused some stir back home over her visit to Russia and her meeting with President Vladimir Putin. Bear in mind, it was just recently we learned members of the Trump campaign had contact with top Russian officials, and they may have discussed how to influence the presidential election in America.
The 48-year-old leader of the National Front met with President Vladimir Putin on Thursday in a move meant to boost her image abroad. The visit to Moscow comes a month after chairman of the French Senate's Foreign Affairs, Defense and Armed Forces Commission, Jean-Pierre Raffarin, said France is ready for a gradual lifting of sanctions imposed on Russia over Ukraine. Back then, he had said the lifting of sanctions can start gradually, depending on how all Minsk provisions will be translated into life. He encouraged dialogue at a highly strategic level, which he said was intrinsic to Russian-French relations. It was perhaps this premise that prompted Ms. Le Pen's visit to the Russian leader. President Vladimir Putin, obviously very pleased by the visit, said Moscow reserved the right to meet any French politician it wanted, and that she represented quite a fast-growing element of European political forces. Then he addressed what no one wanted to ask, but had been thinking. No, Russia had no intention of meddling in the French presidential elections, though critics believe otherwise. U.S. investigators have begun looking into Russian interference into November's elections and meetings between Trump's campaign officials and top members of the Kremlin, as revealed by U.S. FBI Director James Comey. Russia has denied such claims, as has the Trump administration. President Putin made it clear on Thursday when he said, "We don't want to influence events in any way, but we retain the rights to meet with all different political forces, just like our European and American partners do." After their meeting, Ms. Le Pen said the Russian president represented a sovereign and new vision, and added, "A new world has emerged in the past years. This is Vladimir Putin's world, Donald Trump's world in the United States, Mr. Modi's world in India." She said she was probably the only one that shares with all these great nations a vision of cooperation and not one of subservience, something she described as a hawkish vision that has too often been expressed by the European Union. She also reiterated her stance on backing the lifting of the European Union's economic sanctions imposed on Russia over its role in the Ukraine conflict.
So, of course, I would envisage lifting these sanctions rather swiftly, hoping naturally and on the condition that Russia itself may lift the sanctions that it has imposed in return, if you like, on the import of products.
Le Pen's ties to Russia have been subject to intense scrutiny. Her party took a €9 million loan from a Moscow-based bank in 2014 and is actively seeking new sources of funding. But according to diplomats, senior National Front figures have been frequent visitors to Moscow. But she's not the only one with ties to Russia. 3 other presidential contenders are also being looked at closely. The Kremlin has denied meddling in the campaign ahead of the first-round vote in April. Despite media reports that candidate of the Republican Party, François Fillon, was paid to arrange introductions to Putin, something Fillon has denied as fake news.